Okay, so I had somebody on my blog asking me if I can make a step-by-step video tutorial of how to send push notifications to Android using Parse. So here we go. So first you go to Parse and you make an account and they are free. So you go to your apps and we need to make a new app so we can create it from here or we can create it from the drop down. So we're going to create it and we're going to call it test notifications. Very creative. So we're going to make it and now we're going to go. Basically what we're looking for is the quick start guide for push. So we're going to go to push, then we're going to go to get started with Parse push, and we're going to look for the quick start. So the first thing on Parse is that it really likes to change the app. So make sure you go to your test notification again that you just created. It's going to ask you for an environment, and in this class we're making an Android app. We're going to make it in Java, not in Xamarin or C Sharp. So then you have two options, new project or existing project. What does this mean? So if you make a new project, this is going to download an entire Android Studio project that is going to be empty with only the Parse libraries. That's good if you want everything in a box. The problem is that it adds a whole bunch of stuff you may have no idea about, and it doesn't really work when you have an existing project already going on. So the second option is to use an existing project, which is more difficult, and that's what we're going to do right now. So you go to that and you have all the instructions. You have the SDK, dependencies, and a whole bunch of information from Parse. So the first step is we're going to ignore the first step. We're not going to download the SDK this way because this makes it very complicated now with Android Studio. So instead, we're going to use Gradle to download it. So let's go to Android Studio. I'm going to start a new application. In this case, just name it anything you want, and just if you already have an application, you don't have to do anything of this. So in my case, I'm just going to make a very simple one without changing anything. So this is going to take a couple of minutes. Alright, so the application is completely created. We're not going to change anything on the UI, so I'm just going to close the layout. I'm not going to deal with it. Technically, we're not going to do anything on the main activity, but I'm going to keep it open because the tutorial from Parse tells you to keep it open, and we're going to see what's wrong with that. So the first thing is we're going to go on the left, we're going to select Android on the list, and we're going to go to Gradle scripts. And we're looking for a file called build.gradle for this module, for the app module. So we're going to open it. Okay, so we have a short version of this. We have dependencies. You may have more or less. If your application already exists, you may have more. So we're going to grab these two dependencies. We're going to copy them. We're going to put them over here. Okay. So the problem is Parse doesn't tell you really where to get these dependencies from, so we have to use a repository. So I have this on my blog. I explain how to do it. So we're going to grab all this code, just a build script to get the Maven repository, and we're going to put it at the beginning of the app. This usually makes it easier to find when your Gradle file is pretty big. The last thing is we're going to apply the plugin. So we're going to come here. And at this point, we're just going to sync Gradle. This again is going to take a couple of minutes, and once it's done syncing, we're not going to touch the Gradle file again. Alright, so the Gradle file synced, and basically that downloaded the libraries that we need. So we're going to close it, and we're going to go back to the Parse tutorial. So the first thing it says is in the onCreate message, we're going to grab the initialization keys. So we're going to copy that, going to go to onCreate, we're going to slap them right here. So this doesn't know what it is, so in a Mac you just import the two things with option enter. And you can see right here that it's going to import parse.parse and parse.parse installation. Alright, so next thing is we're going to go to the manifest file. So what we're doing is we're going to be sending a push notification, and because of this we have to have a receiver running. So Parse has all this code already made, except we just need to put the application packaging here. So this goes inside the application tag. Okay, so either at the beginning of application or at the bottom of application. So we're going to do it here, and we're going to grab the package of the app. And in category name, it actually tells you to change it here. So we're going to change it to my application package. Alright, so that's it for the receiver. But we still need permissions. We still need to get to the internet, we need to vibrate, we need to wake up the phone, we need to do a whole bunch of things like that. So I'm going to copy all those permissions and we're just going to put them before application. And again, we need to copy the applications package name over here. In this case, we're only going to go up to permission. So we want the application package and then dot permission dot c to d message, and the same for the one below. Okay, so we have those two then, and we're just going to remove the reminder. All right, we're almost done with this. So at this point, we're going to run the app. I have the app over here in my phone. I have my phone connected, I should say. So we're going to run the app and we're going to see what happens when we send a test notification. All right, so give me a minute. All right, as you can see, the application runs and there aren't any errors, so that's very good. So let's go to parse and let's try to send a first notification. So let's see what the app is going to do. All right, ready? So look. So we send a notification and you can see the app is actually aware of it. It can receive it. It's in the notification tray. So we're going to pull it out. We have a test push from parse. Great. So what happens if we push it? Oh, the app crashed. So why did it crash? Let's go see. So as you can see here, the problem is in main activity line 24, which is the first line of the initialization of parse. And if you look at the exception, it says parse plugin is already initialized. So what happens here? So the application is running, you get a push notification and the application opens again. So when the application opened the first time, parse initializes. When the application opens a second time, parse initializes again, and that's what's causing an exception. So in order to solve this, we have to have an activity or an application that only opens one time. So when you get notifications, you don't have this problem. So to do that, we're going to go to create a new class. We're just going to create a Java class. I'm going to call it, it's going to be a Java class. I'm going to call it starter class. And this is going to extend application. And here we're going to override the onCreate method of this class. And then we're going to grab the code that we have on main activity for the initialization of parse, and we're going to plug it over here. So now main activity went back to the stock file that it was when we started. But how do we call starter class? So you can see it's not really in use ever. So we don't want to call it from main activity because we know this gets called every time the app starts. But instead we're going to go to the manifest and we're going to have a new name, and this is going to be starter class. So this is going to be right below the application, so this ensures us that this class it's only going to be called once. So let's go ahead and run the app again. The app is still broken on the phone, so I'm going to close the previous version. Alright, so we're good. The application opened again, so everything with it was pretty much good to go. So what happens now if we send a notification? So let's go and send a test message again. So as you can see in the notification tray, we have a message again, and again it says test push from parse. So what happens if we push it now? Oh, there you go, the application opened. However, more often than not, you're going to get you're going to be getting notifications when the application is closed. So let's close it and let's send a test notification again. Let's see what happens now. There you go, there's another notification on the notification tray. Oops. And when we push it, look at that, the application starts. So now, if you just want to send a regular notification, you just go to push on parse. Again, make sure you change it to the application that you want. You go to send a push. We're gonna send it to everybody. We can select the audience that we want, but we just want everybody. So we're gonna say something like, hello everybody. Very creative. So we're gonna have the application close over here so you can see what happens. And we're gonna send it now. As you can see in the notification tray, we have the application there, and now it has the text that we want. And when we push it, it opens the app. So there you have it. I hope it helps.